in WordPress, and then the students access it through Canvas. And I've looked at the brochure with the degree plan of what classes you take each year, and they have, and talking with you this morning, it's a very broad based program in that we want to appeal to many different sides of kinesiology. By the same token, it also makes it a little bit challenging to know exactly what some of the course titles really mean, because, and I apologize because I don't think this is one of the names of the courses, but like seminar in kinesiology is not a very descriptive term, and that's what's bubbling up in my head is like a course name. So it's difficult to know exactly for sure what entails there. I'm very excited because I think tomorrow you said we were going to look at some classes and talk more about this, and I've spent the morning individually in meetings with, and yes, I was going to say high-ranking university officials. So I'm very excited to learn more, and it's one of the reasons why I'm excited to be here. So to answer your question, I don't know that I have the most thoughtful answer to that because I still feel a lot to learn.
Can I interrupt you, Kate?
Sure.
Because I think what Chris is getting at is there a way for your research to be bolstered by, fostered by, working with people virtually who might be in EDD? That's sort of what you're doing, like more than the course. Maybe that's where you're getting.
Yeah, well, and kind of what I was thinking was, so I'm not sure what they've necessarily been learning in their courses to know then what direction they're thinking of taking their particular projects, right, their dissertations. I know that there's a few athletic training students in somewhat of a mini cohort within the cohort, because we've talked a lot about that with pending responsibilities. So I don't know. If there's students that are interested in working with children with disabilities and autism, I certainly think there's stuff there. I think there's potentially collaborative opportunities maybe with therapeutic rec faculty to think about, could these students help us collect data from wherever they're logging in from? Because I do know they're not all from North Carolina. They're not all in the United States. Because I also, the other thing that I've read is I read about the new mom that recently, she's a new addition to the website, Katie Thompson, maybe I read her story yesterday, and then the lady that's in China. So I've been reading what I can, but it's hard to answer that question. So I don't know if they run parallel or not. But my comment, if you're concerned how that would work, is that when you look at my Vita, please keep in mind that I've taught a 4-4 load the entire time I've worked in academia. And I think I've managed to try to stay somewhat productive as a researcher. So one of the things that's really exciting here is that this job is not a 4-4 teaching load with 100 kids per section. And I teach sophomores who have just transferred into Temple, so there's a certain level of not understanding of how things work that I also have to teach them. So the idea of some of that being lessened, I think, makes it so that I'm less intimidated if I'm running parallel new things, because I've been running parallel unrelated things the whole time somehow. I'm not sure, but I think it has to do with a steady diet of caffeine in the afternoons. Yes, ma'am.
A little bit related, but in your research, what kind of methodological approaches do you use?
Predominantly repeated measures designs. So within subjects, repeated measures designs. That's a little bit unusual for special education related type research. So that usually uses single subjects design, but I really like the idea of doing within subjects measures,
So
repeated
primarily
measures.
quantitative, or
Yes, predominantly quantitative. I've written one qualitative paper. I would be willing to engage in that activity again, but I need a qualitative collaborator because that's not me. The qualitative paper that I wrote, I was the data point, and then I helped write the manuscript for publication. But the question was that we were looking at or thinking about was, so if kids with autism have trouble communicating, they can't really necessarily effectively tell you what their preference is. There are certain behavioral characteristics that allow you to infer what their preference is, but they may or may not be able to use their words to tell you, I liked this best, or to tell you why they liked it best. So the project that I was involved with that was qualitative was, as the assessor of these kids with motor skills, what did I see was happening? And I would see things like one child removed their pants when I was using full sentences to speak to them, which suggests to me that they did want me to stop talking, and so they were gonna do whatever they could to make me stop talking, which was if they took their pants off, we had to stop everything and put your pants back on. So I that could be a qualitative data point that suggests, I really didn't like this. And so that was kind of that particular paper. The interviewer was a faculty member at Auburn that was involved with my dissertation. So.
Questions? Okay, well, I think right now would be a good time to transition.